I about 3 years ago um, got in the mail a card that I wasn't even thinking about. It happened roughly a month before my 65th birthday, and it was addressed to me, and I went, "Hello, I haven't, what's that?" And I've always got a view that anything that comes in the mail these days, Josh, is a bill. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
either a
that's pretty much
bill
what I find.
or a reminder notice that you haven't paid your bill. So that's pretty much the nature of stuff that ends up on my letterbox today. So I got something that was addressed to me. I went, oh God, what have I not done now? Or how many demerit points have I accumulated for some sort of driving offence, now? But I felt it. I went, this is hard. And I opened it, and there, lo and behold, was my gold card. And I went, oh, holy moly. And of course, as soon as you get a gold card, and everybody over the age of 65 knows this, you immediately go online, Josh, to see what particular specials or discounts you can get because you're promised them, can I say. Unfortunately, I live in an area where I don't think I can get anything except I can get 5% off my groceries, Josh. Did you know that? Now, you
Yep.
said that's a big deal, isn't it? 5% off your groceries.
Yeah, a mate of mine was rapt about that when he got his gold card the other week.
I can travel on public transport, I think between 9 and 3:30 free. And I think there's ferries. Is it Fuller's ferries to Waiheke or something like that that I can get on? But as a general rule, I was disappointed, I have to say, by what I expected to be the Garden of Eden presented to me at the age of 65 with my gold card. But nonetheless, I thought, well, it doesn't matter. There you go. Yes, but now there are people who, and then lo and behold, I also got, Josh, every fortnight and still do an income. It's given to me, whether I think I had, and it wasn't as much as I liked. I remember looking at it and going, oh, I wonder how much I'll get when I'm on my gold card. So I had a look, Josh, instantly, and I went, oh, God, that's a lot of money to be getting every fortnight. And I remember getting half of that. And I was going, why did I get half of that? I even rang up the Ministry of Social Development, Josh, to say, excuse me, it says here that a single superannuitant should be getting this every fortnight, this amount of money. Why am I only getting what appears to be roughly half of that? And they said it's because you earn lots of other money. I went, oh, yeah, okay. So it is obviously, I must have been put into a higher tax bracket or something, but I get nothing like it, what they say on this anyhow. But now apparently more than 9,000 people aged over 65 still get superannuation despite earning $200,000 a year. And another 33,000 earn between $100,000 and $200,000 a year, and they get superannuation as well. And the Retirement Commissioner is saying, Jane Wrightson, as of last week, that it's entirely fair to question whether they should be able to claim New Zealand super as well. So, in other words, the Retirement Commissioner is now suggesting that if you earn over a certain amount of money, you shouldn't get superannuation, or you should have it systemically abated until presumably it disappears as well. Like I said, I'm not earning $200,000 a year. I can tell you that. I should be, Sean, but I'm not. But just quietly, um, I can say that I have my income, any income over and above my super or the other way around, severely and systematically abated. And a number of you will be as well as you're listening to this. However, just over 24% of people aged over 65 work, so roughly 1 in 4 of us, including me, still work, which is up from 22% 10 years ago. And the biggest increase is amongst people aged 70 to 74. It's a really good question. Do you continue to work? And I had a friend of mine from school ring me up last week, say happy birthday, Michael. He's the same age as I am. And he said, I've got no intention of stopping. And I said, but you don't need the money. He said, Michael, it's not the money, for God's sake. He said, I just like working. All right. Now, well, so then there's that argument. And there's the other argument that Bruce, my good friend, gave. He said, Michael, I don't feel guilty about claiming national super at all. I said, why? You earn quite a bit of money. He said, because I have been paying taxes over large sums of money, large amounts of years. I've raised two decent kids who are also earning good salaries and paying very large taxes, who are also raising each two kids each. So consequently, why should I feel guilty? Why should the people who have wasted and he said pissed away their lives? That's what he said. Why should they be able to get superannuation and yet I be denied despite it's my taxes, in actual fact, ironically, that have created that largesse? Well, to join to talk about that and whether or not Retirement Commissioner Jane Wrightson is on the right track, Infometrics Principal and Economist Brad Olsen joins us. Brad, welcome to the show. Love to have you on.
Good to be with you.
Means testing of superannuation has been on the radar for a long, long time. No politicians have touched it. But it's mean tested anyhow currently, isn't it?
Well, not really. Basically, once you're over 65, you get the money as long as you've been here
Yes,
for a certain amount of time.
but you don't get all the money. I was just saying that mine's significantly and severely abated as a consequence of the other income I'm earning. I don't get as
Well,
much as the person who doesn't earn any income and is solely reliant upon national superannuation.
well, only to the point though, Michael, that you pay a general level of tax. But basically, New Zealand Super is just another form of income at that point. So, if you were, for example, earning $50,000 a year without New Zealand Super, then you add in the New Zealand Super on top of that. Basically, the tax system doesn't care if it's coming from an employer or the government. The tax system cares about how much you're paying overall. So you would just pay that New Zealand Super payment is basically either additional income if you've already got income, or it's just your basic amount of income if you've got nothing else. So there's no sort of different taxing that goes on. It's just how much you have coming through. But of course, even at that point, you might be getting less than those who aren't earning otherwise. But there are a lot of people out there that even at getting a lesser rate, because they're still being taxed highly, are still having to draw down quite a lot of money from the government, and that still is costing. Like at the moment, New Zealand's largest single item that we spend on is New Zealand Super. New Zealand Super is worth more than the entire education budget in New Zealand. It's more than double what we spend on every other benefit and social welfare areas. It's getting to the point where over the next sort of 10 years or so, we'll be spending one in every $5 government dollars purely on New Zealand Super. I know others say it's sustainable and similar, and I guess in the sense it is sustainable if you're willing to spend less on other areas. And that's always my question back to people. What do they spend less on? What are they happy to spend less on? Is it defence? Is it education? Is it health? To make sure that we can still pay New Zealand Super as it's currently structured.
Right. The answer and the argument is it's not a benefit, Brad. It's not like superannuation or a disability allowance. It's something that's earned as a consequence of having worked and paid taxes, and that this is a retirement income that essentially has been available in some way, shape, or form since, I don't know, about 1893. Um,
Yep.
so, but
But
you are
though,
claiming,
Michael.
as is a retirement commissioner, that it's now a benefit, as if in, well, you can't look after yourself, so here's some money from the state.
But that's what it was always designed as. It was never. If you actually go back into the records, and I know people like to disagree with this, but it is actually the fact that the New Zealand Super has been a benefit. It's an add. It's essentially considered an add-on to what people already had, either through private savings or through owning a house or similar. It's not supposed to be an absolute full replacement for your payments later in life. It's supposed to be an addition to them, or at the very most generous, the most basic of living options going forward. But it's not supposed to be you just get paid literally for being old at a general average income over the way, and you get to sort of live out your days by paying through from the government, because you don't actually prepay any of that. I mean, I heard you in your intro highlighting that some of your, I think it was one of your friends or guests had sort of said, well, look, I've paid my taxes over time,
Yeah.
I've earned this. And well, not really, because that person's taxes at the time paid for those who were over 60 or 65 back in the day, which means that if you're currently retired today, if you're currently getting New Zealand Super because you're over the age of 65, you are only getting money that is currently being contributed by current taxpayers. You prepaid none of it. Until we start dipping into the Cullen Fund, and that'll happen probably next decade, you're actually not prepaying any of it. Yes, you paid for the other guy's stuff, and I totally get that there feels like you should get a bit of what you gave. I get that. The difference being, you go back into the sort of 80s and 90s, you had about 6 workers helping support every retiree. These days, you've got 4 workers supporting every retiree. In the next 2 to 3 decades, you'll have 2 workers supporting every retiree, which means that more and more of your proportional tax has to go on super, which leaves less for other areas. So I don't think that's fair.
Okay. There's a social contract agency to this, though, isn't there, Brad? And that social contract is, since 1975, the deal from the political system and, if you like, those who run it, from Treasury, the Reserve Bank, and everybody else, is there's a social contract that they have with New Zealanders. And that is when they do get to 65, and it was 60 at one stage, it's gone up to 65. I think it's about ready to go to 67, isn't it? Or is that the aim or intent later on?
No one's changing.
No, that's right. Nobody's
Might be
moving the
rich.
age at the moment. Yes, they eventually will, you assume at some stage, but you're right, that debate's still to be had. That everybody receives it because it is a universal benefit. And so you then get into the deserving versus undeserving argument, don't you? Rather than doing that and seeking to avoid it, the concept is it be universal. There are 2 ways of handling it, though, isn't it? You could still keep the universality and lessen the amount of money that's being paid out individually.